Colin Harrison is an American novelist and editor. Harrison is the author of 8 novels: Break and Enter, Bodies, Electric Manhattan, Nocturne, Afterburn, The Havana Room, The Finder, Risk, which was first published as a 15-part serial in the New York Times Magazine in 2008, and You Belong to Me, published in June 2017. His books have been published in a dozen countries, and 4 have been selected as notable books by the New York Times Book Review. The Finder was a finalist for the 2009 Los Angeles Times Book Prize and the 2009 Dashiell Hammett Award. All are atmospheric novels of violence, sex, and suspense that explore the underside of city life, most particularly in New York. Although his novels invariably involve the money and power that is concentrated in Manhattan, his stories usually snake through the boroughs outside Manhattan as well, in particular through Brooklyn, which has served as a setting for scenes in Bodies, Electric Manhattan, Nocturne, The Finder, and Risk. A movie version of Manhattan Nocturne, directed and written by Brian DeCubelis and titled Manhattan Night, was released by Lionsgate in May 2016. The movie stars Adrian Brody, Yvonne Strahovski, Campbell Scott, Jennifer Beals, and others. His short nonfiction has appeared in the New York Times, New York Magazine, The Washington Post, The Chicago Tribune, Vogue, Salon, Worth, and other publications and anthologies, including Brooklyn Was Mine, edited by Chris Knutson and Valerie Steeker. He has lived since 1987 in the Park Slope neighborhood of Brooklyn with his wife, the writer Colin Harrison, with whom he has 3 children. He was an editor at Harper's Magazine from 1989 until 2001, and in that time worked with such writers as David Foster Wallace, Jonathan Franzen, Jane Smiley, Russell Banks, Michael Patternite, Lucy Greeley, Tom Jones, Scott Anderson, Sebastian Junger, Ken Kalfus, Verlin Klinkenberg, Barbara Ehrenreich, Charles Bowden, Joy Williams, David Quammen, William H. Gass, Joe Conason, David Gooderson, Bob Shakachis, Joyce Carol Oates, Louis Lapham, and many others. In 2001 he was appointed senior editor at Scribner, an imprint of Simon Schuster, where he edits both fiction and non-fiction. In 2013, he became Scribner's editor-in-chief. Among the many writers he has worked there with are Anthony Swafford, Jeff Hubbs, Jason Matthews, Nick Pizzolatto, Helen Thorpe, Mark Fisher and Michael Cranish of The Washington Post, Ted Fishman, Kem Nunn, John Dalton, Richard Snow, Craig Nelson, Greg Iles, Bruce Weber, Craig Unger, Stephen Johnson, Alexandra Horowitz, Rick Perlstein, Carol Sklenicka, Kevin Fedarko, Linda Fairstein, Robert Ferrigno, Daniel Okrent, Doug Stanton, S.G. Gwynn, and Chuck Hogan. From 1993 to 2003 he taught intermittently at Columbia University's undergraduate writing program and served as a thesis advisor for the MFA program.